have rights, regardless if you have a paper or not. You have rights in Canada, and I.
Welcome back to another video, guys. Today I'm joined with a very good friend of mine, Anessa. She is a Canadian immigration student, currently, even though she had graduated twice. Today she'll be sharing some valuable advice that I'm looking forward to, and hopefully that someone somewhere would be able to get some valuable needed advice through this conversation. So I just want to say, if it's the first time you're watching one of our videos here on DiAndersons, please don't forget to subscribe, like, share, and if you're feeling generous, leave a comment. So, Anessa,
Yeah.
the first question I think everyone wants to know is, which part of Yard you come from?
Spanish Town, Rivali.
Rival is Spanish Town.
Yes.
Spanish Town girl.
Mm-hmm.
How long have you been in Canada?
So December that just passed, the 24th, make 9 years since I've been in this country.
Okay. And how is it going so far? Like, what would you have to say? Like, or was it transition when you just came to Canada?
So right now it's going good because I have closed that chapter of like I have gained my citizenship. So at first it was very, very difficult because not knowing the country, just knowing it that is a place of getting away from Jamaica and it has a lot of opportunity. It was very hard because I didn't have no status. I didn't know anything about immigration at that time. And as it goes along, it becomes very easier for me.
What do you miss most about Jamaica?
The food, the beach, mostly my family, I could say.
You mentioned that you miss the food. Doesn't Canada have good food?
It does have good food, but it's not gonna taste like the same like back home. It's not gonna be the same authentic.
Well, that's clear enough. What about the weather? You mentioned the beaches, but what about the weather?
The weather here, so there's 4 seasons, and I love them all, but the winter I can't really too well get over it. But the summer is the best because you have Caribana, you have so many things to do during summer and spring.
Okay, what about the culture? So oftentimes a lot of persons say that when they're leaving their home country, it's usually a big adjustment to adapt to another country, right?
Hmm.
How do you adjust to the Canadian culture being Jamaican?
So I'm currently in Toronto. So Toronto is a lot of multicultures. So there's people from all over, and I didn't really have a hard time because there's so many Jamaicans here within this city. So I never felt left out. It was great, like anyone that
Okay,
comes to Toronto would know.
okay, okay. So that made the transition a little easier, I assume.
Yes, it did a lot.
Okay, so let's dive right into it now. Based on what you have studied and also based on your experience living in Canada for the past 9 years, in your opinion, what would you say is the best way to immigrate to Canada?
For me, first you make sure that you have family here, because if you don't have family, you're going to be left alone. So family is it's very key to migrate to Canada because with immigration officers, they're looking if you have family here and abroad, and knowing that you're prepared for a weather because as I said before, there's 4 seasons. Winter lasts up to what, 3-4 months. So you know that, and also knowing about the job. Yes, there is job. You could work under the table, which I wouldn't recommend anybody to work under the table, but a lot of people work under the table for the time being. Knowing what route are you taking to come into Canada. Are you going to come as a visitor? Are you going to come as a student? Are you going to come as an employer? So you just have to know what road are you going to really take. A lot of people take the agriculture side, which they're going back and forth, which is not also helpful when to get a permanent resident. Some people take the student side, which after you finish school, the government has a program that will help people to get their permanent resident. I took the visitor side, which it was a risky move for me to take that side, but I took it. I was young and I had a chance, and I got the chance and I got the opportunity and I took advantage of it.
Okay, I think you gave some great tips right there, right?
Mhm.
What about the Express Entry program? Do you know much about it? What can you share with us about that program?
So with those program, express entry, the pool entry, like it's like you're gambling, you know. So you're putting your name there and you're getting all, but not everybody mostly get through from express entry. It's really a gamble to get through express entry. The nomination, it's a really a risky move, because if you don't have the right points, then you don't have a lot of experience working in Canada, because a lot of people don't have experience. And if you don't have family members, if you have kids, if you don't have money is one of the important things. You have to make sure that you have money in your bank account, or back home. What are you coming here to? So it's really a gamble, because if you're coming from a background that you don't have nothing, and you're trying to go through the express entry or the nominate, it's really a weird waste for you to go through that wrong, because you okay, look at it. You don't have money. Yes, you went to school in Jamaica. You don't have no family here. Then you're looking at someone that is richer. They have money. They have a lot of money. They have family. They have a lot of work experience. Who would the government take? Someone that has more experience, or someone that don't really have experience?
Well, absolutely, that's true. So, in a nutshell, then, pretty much, the Express Entry is a very good program, but what we are essentially saying is, based on your experience, is that you would recommend that persons explore other options first, whether it's
Mm-hmm.
to study or whether to try and work in Canada before actually embarking on the Express Entry, seeing that there is a greater chance that they will get through if they develop some level of stability in Canada before actually embarking on that process. Is that so?
Yeah. Yep.
Okay.
That's true.
So COVID-19 obviously has been the hallmark of 2020. It literally erased 2020 from the calendar, right? So there was no
Mm-hmm.
2020. So we're now in 2021. Based on what you have studied so far, again, and also your experience, are you seeing any changes in any immigration policy towards international students, temporary workers, or even the regular Canadian visitors visa process?
So right now, a lot of changes. I would say there are some, and there are some not, like they're not really a lot. Um, for students, if you're in Jamaica or not, a lot of people try to apply and they got denied, because um, the government basically know that you're coming to run off. You're not really trying to come in to study, because that's what most people try to do. They try to get a study, but they're not really coming to study. They're coming to run off. So the the government do like a pre-approval of the study permit. So they pre-approve you, which you will study at home in your own country, but you won't be able to come here unless there's a certain program. So a lot of people didn't really get the pre-approval like they said. On the other hand, if you have a family member here and you have a visa, you could come here with by doing a certain type of application to the immigration office, and sending whoever is in Canada could send that documents to you, so you could use that document to enter Canada, which it's good, but there's a lot of people that still can't come in regardless if you have that documents that say that you have a family here. So yes, they try to have certain things set up in place for you to come here, but it's not working out.
Not
But
working out.
on the
Okay.
other, if you're in here in Canada, it's really good because you'll be able to get a work permit. So they did set up that you could get a work permit in Canada because you can't leave the country.
Okay. So I'm gonna ask a series of questions, and I just need yes or no's.
Hmm.
Would you recommend anyone to come to Canada?
Yes.
This one. Is it easy to get a job in Canada?
Yes, it is.
Is the standard of living in Canada better than, well, your experience, where you're coming from?
Yes.
And this one is not a yes or no question, but what is the best thing about Canada?
The best thing about Canada is comparing it to Jamaica and here, I was able to go to school and it was free. Back home, it's not free, you have to pay. So I was able to go to a school that is free, able to go to college. And yes, there's government funding in place that you could go to school and university, college, do whatever you want to do. And after graduating, there is job lineup. So I went to school twice. I'm a registered social service worker, and I'm also a graduate of immigration consultant. So I'm able to, if I want to go to school 10 million times, I could go 10 million times because they have that. I have so many opportunities for that. And there's also jobs lined up after. The government have a lot of job in place for we graduate. The there's benefit. There's a lot of benefit for us here. So if you have a child here, not saying that someone should go have a child, but if you have a child, there is funding in place. There's child tax benefit. Back home in Jamaica, I never heard that someone getting $600 a month for one child. There is that in place. If I'm traveling, the government, I could travel anywhere and I could live anywhere that I feel uncomfortable. Before, I could not even travel. I was so scared because I'm like, I can't go nowhere. But now I'm a free person. I could do whatever I want to do. I could vote. That is
Yeah,
important. Yeah.
very important. Okay, so of course, expectations versus reality is always a huge deal. Like persons
Hmm.
usually have a preconceived notion before moving to another country. Like back home in Jamaica, like I remember when I was in Jamaica as well, like Canada, we always thought that Canada was a society where like everything was easy. Everything comes easy and you don't have to work as hard for it, right? What do you have
Hmm.
to say about that in terms of expectation versus reality? What kind of expectations would you say persons have, and what would you say is the reality of some of those expectations?
I would say some of us, we have family here. So, when you're back home and you hear your family say that, okay, come here. Yeah, when you come here, that same family is going to leave you behind because that's what actually happened to me. I came here with family that come to visit once a year, and reality did hit me that okay, I'm a 14-year-old left by myself. I have to find my way through this place. Not like okay, back home I didn't really have much to say. Oh, I'm poor and whatnot. I still was living a decent life because my mom working with the government. But here, this is when I know when you have to fend for yourself, and it was really really hard. But once I know my rights, we have rights regardless if you have a paper or not. You have rights in Canada, and I found my rights, and by doing that I fight for my state in this country. And a lot of people don't know their rights. A lot of people are left, or they left to get deported back home. So you have to know what different organizations out there fighting for you, get connected to them so you could be at a place and knowing where to go and what step to take.
Okay, okay. And my final question here, Anissa, is of course, Canada is one of the most sought after countries in the world, right?
Hmm.
What I know that we just got into a lot of advice and we just gave a lot of tips, and I'm sure that a lot of persons are going to be grateful for these advice, right? But
Hmm.
if you have one last word to say to someone who is thinking of coming to Canada? It's 2021, everyone has goals and they're like, oh, I'm going to try this Canada thing, I'm going to see where it goes. What advice would you give to anyone from any country who is thinking of migrating to Canada?
For me, I would say come, because there's a lot of opportunities here for you. Because if the born Canadians are not taking advantage of these that are here, it's here for you. The government wants young people in this country and families to build on their population. So there is school, there is jobs, there are so many things here for you. And just one thing that you need to know, if you're under the age of 18, if you're already in Canada or in Toronto, because Toronto is a sanctuary city. So if you're here in Toronto and you're under 18 and you say, okay, I don't have no papers, I am scared, you could go to school. There's that option of you to go to school, and you can even go to adult school, because there's a policy saying no ask, no tell policy. And there's a lot of free programs here for you. For like, there's medical. Although you don't have a papers, there's so many medical set up for people to get better healthcare. And we have the #1 universal healthcare system in the world. So it's way better than a lot of countries in America, So, yeah.
Okay, I just want to say thank you so much for joining us today, Anessa, and giving us some very useful information that personally I have found very interesting. And I'm just hoping that my viewers will find it equally interesting. So all the best for 2021. And thank you so much for joining me today, Anessa.
You're welcome.
Oh, and one last word. Congrats on your marriage. I didn't tell
Thank
you
you.
personally, but I saw it, and I just want to say congrats. I noticed that you married a Nigerian. I have quite a few Nigerian friends. Do you know how to cook jollof rice?
Oh, yes. Okay, me and my husband been together for 5 years, okay? And I have a son, half Jamaican, half Nigerian. But like, I love Nigerian. And the jollof, the suya, everything is the bomb. Yeah.
Oh.
Thank you guys for watching this video to the end. Don't forget to
like,
share,
comment,
and subscribe.
DiAndersons.